Bring it back. 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 Bring it back.
This is very hard to explain because it's a complex technology, but
there it is. I'm still finding my stream deck, folks, so if things don't go smoothly, don't blame the guy, it's his stream deck. From the And the Groove Remains production team studios in the Netherlands. My name is 𝗵𝗲𝗿𝗲 and welcome to this live stream. My mission is not to sell you as many apps as I can, no, my mission is to educate, teach and help you with DJ technology and audio track collection management in general. So you have more time to have fun being a DJ. For those of you unfamiliar with who I am, a very quick introduction. I am a 58-year-old dude from the Netherlands. I had my first DJ residency at the age of 15, which means this is over 40 years of DJ experience in the flesh. I am no longer an active DJ. I call myself a retired DJ. However, you may know me from a little app that I wrote, and if that Stream Deck is not finding me, then maybe we are going to see which app I wrote. Let's see, I'm not sure if it is. There it goes. I think it's the V10. Maybe I need a hub or something between the V10 or something that will work easier, because that might be the cause of it not switching. Anyway, that app that I wrote is called the DJ Conversion Utility, which helps you to convert between various DJ software, maintaining your cues, your loops, and all that other good stuff, so you don't have to redo it over again if you want to try something else. Each Tuesday, 7 o'clock p.m. Central European Time, that happens to be right now, I host this Ask Me Anything live stream, where I try not only to answer your questions, but where possible also demonstrate how certain things can be done, or I give you the link to a video tutorial if I already talked about that in the past. If you are watching this live, then please don't forget to say hi in the chat. By the way, this stream is not monetized. I'm not willing to make any money off this stream, because I find commercials in live streams annoying as hell. So for that reason I turn it off on all my channels. That also means that this video is a little bit harder to find, because the YouTube algorithm prefers videos that have monetization on, because YouTube makes money out of that. So if you like what I'm doing, don't forget to give this video the thumbs up, like, share, subscribe and all that other good stuff. But most importantly, tell your DJ friends about the availability of this information, totally free online, each Tuesday, 7 o'clock p.m. Central European Time. Let me say hi to the people that are already in the chat, because it's already a busy day. DJ Mark, Reflections, Light and Sound. Good day, Mixmaster G. Good day, Mark. Good to have you with us, buddy. Everything is fighting me today, isn't it? Ah, there we go. Suit you, sir. Hi, Mixmaster G. I hope you're keeping well. I'm doing fine, Suit you, sir. Thank you very much. And I have got that question for you. We are going to talk about it in a moment. Doe, hey, happy Tuesday, Mixmaster G and friends. Doe, always appreciate you hanging out with us each Tuesday, and happy Tuesday to you too. My good friend Darukas, what's good? A lot of things are good, but you will see in this live stream, because it's going to be a packed show. There is a lot that I want to talk about, and we are really going to nerd and deep dive technical too, so be prepared for that. Is this still giving us all issues? Yeah. Actually, it looks like it's my V10 that's battling the Stream Deck, because I turned off the V10 and now everything is working just fine. So maybe I should put a little USB hub between the V10 and the computer, and then I wait, of course, for my 3000 access to arrive. And then I put everything in a cover and then put the USB. So then there will be a hub in between, and I think that will be better. DJ Marco Flexalizer, your new app that you released, do I need to purchase it? Yeah, the Spotify to audio file app, that is indeed the new app, is a separate app and is a separate purchase. For those of you who didn't watch last week, this is a new app that allows you to recreate a Spotify playlist in your DJ software using the audio files that you already own. I also released the tutorial for it, which means you have a smooth tutorial to follow how this all works. I highly recommend it. Javaman. Hi Mixmaster G, how are you today? Doing great, Javaman. I hope the same for you too. Like I said, folks, we have a packed show. There is a lot that we need to talk about. There were some questions from users. Of course, last Wednesday I had my good friend Jeroen Groenendijk in the building, and we spoke about the 3000X. And from Jeroen also came some questions, can you believe it? Which I solved for him, but I thought, hey, maybe those questions are important for other people as well, and that's what we are going to talk about as well. But let's start with the simple thing, with the easy thing. Suit you, sir, who is already with us, sent me an email asking to revisit a topic that I made a video about in February, and that is using Algorithm DJ with a touch screen. And Suit you, sir, said something in the trend like, listen, DJ for macOS is not really made for touchscreens. How does that work? And let me show you how that all works. First of all, I've got my favorite mobile rig. It's not the V10 because it's not switching either. But now we are there, as you can see. This is my favorite mobile rig, and as you can see, it consists of a Hercules T7, a Mac Mini M4, which is a very powerful device, and then the big secret of this whole rig, because the rest is all pretty straightforward, is about this. And we also have to wait for my Stream Deck to switch again. Why are you not switching, Stream Deck? I really don't know. Of course, it was working perfectly before we started the stream, right? But it doesn't switch. Let me see if I can switch it manually on OBS, just to make life a little bit easier. There it is. Now it switched to. So this is the little secret of the whole setup, which is a touchscreen.
Now, in the previous video, I used an 𝐀𝐬𝐤 touchscreen, which is a gorgeous touchscreen. It is really, really beautiful. However, one drawback. That touchscreen had 3 leads leading to it, 3. Mainly one for HDMI, one for the mouse signal that comes from the touchscreen, and one for power, which made it a lot of wires. This is a much cleaner setup because all that this screen needs is a USB-C connection. As you can see right to the left there, it only has a USB-C connection. And why do I like this touchscreen so much? Because in algorithm, as you may know, you can mix the stems. You can say how much of a particular stem you want to hear, or just switch them off. And as you can see, I can do that on a touchscreen. I used algorithm on an iPad for ages, and that means that the moment I see algorithm, I am kind of trained to touch the screen. So I was using algorithm from my MacBook Pro, and I was touching the screen all the time. I thought that's annoying, I better have something that I can do this with. And that something, of course, is, let me go full screen. That something, of course, is a touchscreen. And as you can see, I can do really anything, everything, using just my finger and just by touch. I can even load tracks. You can do everything that you want to do. You can hit the cues. So that combination is really awesome. Now this is an 𝐻𝐸𝐴 screen, believe it or not. It looks great. It is not very thick. If you look at it from the side, then you can see that it's not thick. It comes with its own standard, so you can set it down. And this is under $200 on temu.com. I will look up the link and I will put it under the video. But this is really what I love to use in the field if I need just an ad hoc setup. And to be honest, nothing is as powerful as algorithm DJ together with a decent controller, because that power you cannot find in any standalone rig at all.
We have a delay to mic channels are on. Oh, hold on, damn. You are correct. Rob, thank you very much for that. Guys, was this still readable? Because indeed, I see that I'm using a different camera to show the screen, which you see right now, and then it picks up the audio double. So I hope that this was easy to follow. If not, let me know, then I go over it again. Yeah, it is kind of what it is. It's a touchscreen, and it's a cheap touchscreen, but it works very, very, very well. So I really love what that setup does if you need to be mobile. And because it's cheap touchscreen, I can just take it with me wherever I have. Okay, I see that there are more people even in the chat. DJ Alter is in the stream. Welcome, DJ Alter. 𝐷 is in the stream. Yeah, that was a T7 indeed. And then Rob Verhofstadt, who said, stop. You have double audio, but that was because, like I said, there was a second a second mic on. I hope that that is better now. And yeah, it's okay, we could hear everything. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, otherwise I need to do it all over again. But again, I will put the link to this particular screen I'm using right now in the description of the video below. By the way, each next day after a stream I make a time index of the entire stream, so you can easily navigate about to the topics that I spoke about and skip whatever you don't interest. So then you have to go the Wednesdays after, and the first thing I do on Wednesday is create a stream for this, just to make sure that this is all working. And yeah, shoot you sure, you can really do everything. The trick with those touch screens is that they emulate the mouse. It's everything you can do with the mouse, you can do with the touch screen. This one is even multi-touch. I don't know if I can check if I can multi-touch it. Let's see if I can multi-touch it. Can I do, hold on, let's do two at a time. I can do this. No, it only takes one, as you can see. So that multi-touch is not as much multi-touch as you would like, but still easier to do it than using a mouse. So yes, I can really recommend this setup to anybody who needs something mobile and cheap, because that's actually what it is. And an M4 together with this screen is still cheaper than a MacBook Air, more powerful than a MacBook Air. And hey, do with the info whatever you like. Then the next topic that I'm going to speak about, this was the should you sir question, is coming from my good friend Jeroen Groenendijk, who was with us last week. And let me clean up my screen a little bit, and then let me open Rekordbox. You don't, should you sir, I have a cheap USB or a Bluetooth keyboard linked to it if I really want to type, but in general, if I use this setup, I don't use a keyboard. And I still have a mouse with me if the screen is fighting me, but with this screen I never have had the need to use that. Okay, Jeroen's problem was that Jeroen loves to play on Beatport Streaming, but then there comes a moment that he wants to buy the tracks that he's played with on Beatport. So let me see where, in the genres I think. Let me go to my favorite playlist, which is the new disco playlist. Here we are. And let's say you played a couple of tracks. I didn't obviously, but let's say for fun and giggles that you did. Let's create a test playlist here. Test Beatport. And let's just drag some tracks in it. So I have these tracks that are in my Rekordbox playlist, which are Beatport tracks, and I want to buy those tracks. Now, if you want to buy those tracks, what Jeroen was doing, he was going to Beatport and he was copy and pasting everything and then buying the tracks. But there is a smarter way to do this. And by the way, this is not only for Rekordbox, you can do virtually this in any software that supports Beatport Streaming. And the trick is as follows. If you are in the Beatport segment of your DJ software, you need to go to what is known as the My Beatport or My Playlists. And every DJ software has this My Playlist segment. Serato has it, Algorithm DJ has it. Everything that works with Beatport has this segment. And in this playlist, we create a new playlist and we call this Tracks to Buy. Now, again, this is a playlist under Beatport. This is not a regular playlist. To make that distinction, that is why I just made the other playlist, because now I go to the other playlist and I take all these tracks and I move them to Tracks to Buy. So now the tracks to buy are in the tracks to buy playlist. These tracks I want to buy. Now here comes the trick. If I quit Rekordbox here and I go to Beatport, and let's see where is my Safari, there. There we are on Beatport, and I'm not sure if I'm already logged in. Am I logged in? Not sure. We'll see. No, not logged in yet. All right, folks, I need to log in Beatport. Hold on. Let me quickly do that. Okay, and that should be fine. Then if I go to the playlist segment, right here, there you see the playlist tracks to buy, which is right here. And if those tracks are for sale, I can immediately buy them on Beatport. So I can just add them to the main cart, add to the main cart, etc. So you can create your cart from here without typing anything, and then you can go straight to your cart and buy all the tracks. So the takeaway from this is, if you make a playlist in your DJ software underneath the My Playlist segment, and like I said, Serato has this feature. Let me show you that in Serato. Not sure if I'm logged into Beatport for Serato, but I will fix that. Hold on. Serato is always taking ages to start up, so be patient, folks. My Serato is started up. Let me take this off, and then let me go to the, let's see that the library is on, and log in with Beatport, please. And that is logged in. And then I will switch my screen, of course, obviously. This is the one. Here we are. And if you go to the Beatport segment in your DJ software, then you see the My Playlists again, and there you have the tracks to buy. This was just created within Rekordbox. So whatever you create right here, so let me just say, all right, let's create a new one. And again, that's not a crate, that is a playlist from Serato. And then let's do it very simple. I can put a few tracks in here, and now that will also be available on the Beatport side and within any DJ software. So using this in combination with your history playlist gives you a very powerful tool to quickly buy the tracks on Beatport that you want to buy. I see some questions, so let's get into that here. DJ Mark Fix, please, how to transfer crates of Serato for Apple Music? If you mean with Apple Music, the iTunes, the former iTunes, now called Apple, you can do that with the DJ conversion utility. And you can even do that simpler, you can even drag and drop. But if you mean Apple Music, the streaming service, you cannot transfer crates from Serato to Apple Music, the streaming service, period. Not possible. So there are your answers. Let me take that off. And let me quit that here. Then 𝗵𝗶𝗿𝗏. So, iPhone 10 with Rekordbox mobile app. Transferring Rekordbox collection to mobile phone is free without using Cloud Sync. Then connect your iPhone to a Flex 2 Flex 2. No, I don't think. I'm not sure if the Flex 2 is supported by Rekordbox, the mobile app. To be honest, I am not a fan of the Rekordbox mobile app. However, I understood that there were a few updates, so maybe I need to get into it back. But how it is. Am I sending? Yeah, we are back. Thank you for that, Del Knight. Yeah, the sound should be back up right now. It looks like the USB of my trustworthy computer is kind of leaving me down. I have these issues with the Stream Deck and it all seems to be evolving or revolving around the USB ports. So sorry for that. I will keep an eye on it and see how it goes. But we have to work with the stuff that we have. Do you upload your music files to Dropbox or Google Drive or something else to keep the music files and RB data safe besides backing up on a hard disk? No, I have everything on my local file server, which is backed up on 3 different drives. And then I circulate those backups. So 1 week I back up to drive 1, the other week to drive 2, the other week to drive 3, and then I start with drive 1 again, which means that I can always go back 14 days. It's not that I back up every week, by the way. I back up when some important stuff happened on my system. So sometimes it's in 2 days and sometimes it's not in a month. So that's how I do it. I don't rely Dropbox, I don't rely Google Drive, especially not the way that Rekordbox has implemented it. I am on TeamViewer at least 3-4 times a week with artists, trying to help them fix whatever issues they have with Cloud Sync and the Google Drive and Dropbox Drive. But we will get into that in a moment because that also is something that we need to speak about. Let me get back to my desktop. There we are. And then I see that my small screen, why is my small screen not shown? There I am. Let me put that on around. Yeah, that should be better. Okay, let me take this one off. So here we are again. All right, Jeroen, or actually one of Jeroen's clients or artists, his problem was the following. Let me create a little playlist for test for cues, like this. And then let's add some tracks that are not on Dropbox, because as you can see I did upload some tracks and I did it on purpose. Because we are going to talk about, first of all, since a few versions and with the proper account, Rekordbox can analyze for cues. That's called cue analysis. You find it under the analysis tab. And under cue analysis you can say if you want to set them, and there are some other settings how you want to set them. And there is one important one, and that says add the command to cue. That needs to be enabled for the trick that I'm about to show you guys to work, because it relies on being able to recognize the cues because they are named an analysis cue. Let me analyze. Why is the analysis not kicking in? It is kicking in. 13 minutes? Are you nuts? These are just 4 tracks. Why can't you analyze them right away? Not sure what it... all kind of weird stuff is going on. Analyze the tracks and analyze them for a cue. That's what I want. And now it's analyzing them. And let's wait for this to happen. I don't know why it's so slow, but hey, must be a busy day. You can see there are the cues coming in. And if I load the track, then you can see it has cues, and those cues are named 𝐀𝐻. Now let me remove in the 𝐻𝗵𝗄 track a cue or two, and let me give it a cue of my own. And let's make that red so you can easily distinguish between it. Now this was only the hot cues. Let's put a memory loop here too. Send it to the memory. The same works for the memory cues. Now if you want to remove these cues because you don't like how it looks or how it works, then of course this is drama. So what I did is I created a new feature in the Rekordbox collection tool. The Rekordbox collection tool is like a Swiss Army knife for Rekordbox. It does a gazillion things, from finding duplicates to a whole lot of other stuff. It has its very own playlist in my YouTube channel with all the tutorials, all the stuff that it can do. But I added a new one, and you can maybe already guess it. Remove the auto analysis cues from a Rekordbox collection without removing your own cues. And that last part, of course, is the important part about it. So let's wait for this to start up. And there we are, everything is started. And if I go to the 𝐀𝐬 collection, then right now there is nothing that we can do, because the playlists, the Rekordbox collection tool is led up by playlists, and those playlists were not in my Rekordbox collection yet. They are now, because they are automatically created the moment you start RCT. So let's go back to Rekordbox. Here we are, and then go to the Test for Cue playlist, and right here you see the Rekordbox collection tool playlist, and if you open it, it now has the remove the auto analysis cues in this, and then in these tracks. So if I take these tracks and I put them in this playlist, you can see they are there now, then there will be an option available in the Rekordbox collection tool to remove those cues. So let me start up RCT again, which I will do a lot of times today, because hey, I have to go back and forth between it. That's the wrong one, of course. Mojax was correct. Yeah, it is annoying that they all have the same icons, and that's the reason why. Let me put that besides there. That's the reason why the new app has a green icon, so you can easily distinguish it. This is the one we were looking for, so give it a sec to start up. I'm waiting for it to fully start up. It's a patient game, right? And that is because I have all the Rekordbox cloud stuff on, and then it needs to be started. So if I go to the healing section, you see this one is new. Process 4 tracks in the playlist, remove auto analysis cues. If I turn this on and I start the cleaning, and this will be quick, folks, you can wait for this, because this is just metadata tweaking. and Rekordbox is automatically started. I don't need to see log. And if I go right here, then you can see there is now process tracks. And if you go right here, you can see that those auto cues are removed. However, the cue I set manually, this one, is still there. So in other words, only the auto cues are removed for both the memory and the hot bank. But the important thing is that they must be named as Rekordbox names them auto cue, otherwise the system cannot recognize them. Now, while we are in Rekordbox, I also made an expert mode in the Rekordbox collection tool. And that already suggests this is not something for the faint of heart. This is a mode that I created more likely for myself, because like I said, I help a lot of artists with cloud issues, recovering files, recovering their collection. And I was writing scripts back and forth in order to do this. And I thought, why not make this a Rekordbox collection tool feature for the experts? You need to know what you are doing, otherwise you can create havoc in your collection. And actually there are two things in the expert mode available right now. Now, as you can see, there is no expert mode playlist here. In order to create that, I need to start RCT holding down the Alt or Option key, and then it will tell me that it's going to start in expert mode, which I didn't see pop up, so I hope I was on time. And otherwise we do this again. We can just repeat it as often as we like. Now this is all beta. I just, as usual, finished compiling it like 10 minutes before I went live on the stream. So for that reason, if there is something happening, that is because it's a beta, but I think we should be good to go. We'll see that in a moment. Just let's wait for this to start up. Yeah, that's all working fine. This is the Rekordbox collection tool expert mode screen, and as you can see, that screen automatically pops up if you hold down that Option key. And that also means that if I open Rekordbox right now, that I have an expert mode playlist. And there are, like I said, two important things that I implemented in this whole new system, and that is, first of all, shifting cues, shifting loops, and shifting grids, which is a drama if you are converting between DJ software and you don't use the DJ conversion utility, or if you use streaming tracks and you change the quality of the track. What does that last one mean? If I go to my preferences and I go to the advanced and I go to the others, then you can define in Rekordbox which quality the stream must be. Right now you can see that my beatport is set to audio quality FLAC, and let's use FLAC right now, and I will show you what the issue is here. So I have it set at FLAC. Let me go to my beatport and let me go to my playlist, and then let's take just a random track and load it up. There's the track, analyze it. Wait for it to analyze. Oh, I hope I didn't have the auto cues on, because, well, we'll see in a moment if that is on or off. It is on, but might be convenient here. You can see those cues are pretty much spot on the beat grid, right? So this is what you want, this is what you like. Let me do I have the colors on? No. How do I make this an easy to find track? Let's make it in a playlist. Beatport Streaming, and then which track is it? It's this track. Okay, then I can at least find it easy and know what the focus track is. So we have this track, and I have this at FLAC quality. And you can even see that at the file type that it's a FLAC file. Now let's change my quality to, let's say, high, which is right here, and you get a warning. This warning already tells you that there is stuff going to happen if you switch the quality of your stream. And here you think, yo, Mixed Master G, why would you like to go from 256 from lossless to 256? Most of the time you go the other way. Go away. So now I switch the quality. Nothing has happened. Let me restart my Rekordbox because then stuff will happen. There it is. And let's go back to that track, and that's why I put it in a playlist so I can easily find it. And look what happened. Everything is shifted. You see that? The grid is shifted. Everything is shifted here. And that's because I changed the quality. Same way if you go from 256 to flag, your cues and loops will shift. So everything needs to be shifted to the right in order to align. That can be done in expert mode with the Rekordbox collection tool. So what you need to do, as always, is open the screen, go to the expert mode one, and then you see this fix MP3 encoder shifts of those tracks manually. And you can of course put multiple tracks in it if you had a lot of Beatport Streaming tracks that had this issue, that have this issue. Then you can just put them in that playlist. Now, how much you need to shift them, that's always kind of a gamble, but you can make it an educated guess. This is a 126 BPM track, 126 BPM. Let's call it 120. That means that every beat marker is around 500 milliseconds in time. So each beat marker is 500 milliseconds. And if you then look at what this is about a tenth of it. So that would be 50 milliseconds. Now I happen to know it's 46 milliseconds because that's the difference between this. But you can easily guess what it is just by looking what this distance is versus what this distance is. So just this small distance versus the whole beat distance, which is in this case 500 milliseconds, give or take. So we have that information. I did put the track in here. I need to restart RCT because it needs to know that there is a track in that playlist, otherwise it will not use it. So let's wait for this to start up. And again, I do this for one track now, but of course you can do this for many tracks if they all have the same shift. That is the important takeaway. They all need to have the same shift, otherwise this is meaningless. You need to do this with the tracks that all have the same shift, and then you can just fix them, which can of course save you a lot of time by doing this through an app instead of manually shifting the grid and everything else. So now you see that the first option becomes available. We can shift, and there's one track. And like I said, we need to shift to the right. That means it's a positive number. And I know that it's 46 milliseconds. So I enter 46 in the box right here. And that will be fine. And you can then say if it should shift all the cues and loops. And also shift the beat grid separate from each other. But as you saw, they were both shifted. So we will both shift them back. And if I do the start fixes, yeah, I know. That is if you go for a value over 40 milliseconds, but I will up that warning a little bit more even, so that you know better what it is all about. As you can see, this is very fast because this is again all metadata tweaking and metadata stuff's doing. If I go to the process, then we have the expert mode ones, then we have this one here, and if we load it up, lo and behold, everything is back on track. So I think that you can see the power of this, but you also can see that it can cause huge damage if you don't know what you do. In the processed track files, it creates a playlist where you can see which is named what it did. So cues, loops, beat grid shifted with 46 milliseconds. So if things are not the way you want them to be, you can reset it. Of course, you need to start the Rekordbox collection tool with the Option key, hold down, so that expert playlist is created again. As you can see, there is no expert mode right now available, only in the processed ones, but there is no expert mode here. That is on purpose. I don't want you to make mistakes. So if you want to do an expert mode feature, you need to start the Rekordbox collection tool holding down the Option key. So let's do that again, because now we are going to look at the second part, and that's even more powerful than this. So starting it up, holding down the Option key so that playlist is created again, that expert mode playlist is created again. And then I may need a USB drive. So let's hope that I have something on this one. There's definitely something off in my USB chain, because that's fine. Okay, that's created. And then let's start Rekordbox again. And let me show you what the next thing is and why this is also so important. I will switch off my cloud stuff because that's just annoying me. Go off. Now that is turned off, but I still got my Dropbox tracks, because as you could see, I did put some Dropbox tracks. You can see them right here, Dropbox tracks on purpose right here. And let's give this track a cue, and let's give it another cue just for fun and giggles. So I've got some Dropbox tracks here which are stored on Dropbox. And where are they stored on Dropbox? Let me show those in the Finder. Oh, those are still local, I think. But we'll see that in a moment. No, those are still as a local file, so that's not what I wanted to have. Let's do it differently. Let's create a new playlist. And then in that playlist, let's put some tracks that are on this drive. I don't care. Relocate tracks. Okay. A problem that a lot of DJs have is that they have, for instance, Rekordbox on their Windows computer, and they buy a new Macintosh, and then they cannot use their Rekordbox collection anymore because the file path in their Rekordbox database are pointing to the drives that they store their audio files on in Windows, let's say the G drive or the H drive or whatever you want, and that won't fly with Mac OS. For that reason, I created an expert mode again, where you can relocate or change the file path to audio files. And this does not only work for tracks on a drive, it also works for tracks on Google Drive or even on Dropbox. And I'm not sure if I did make my tracks Dropbox tracks, but I will check that in a moment. Let's first do the simple way and show you how this works. So I have these relocate tracks, and if I put them in this, change the file path to the audio files like this, and I quit Rekordbox, and you can see that that drive is now called TESP. I don't know why, but it's called TESP. And let me show you how you use this function. So if I switch on the Rekordbox collection tool. So I renamed the drive from test to example drive. And you now see that change file path prefix is available. Now, if you come, let's say, from a Windows computer, you can say, I want to change the file path from my H drive. Or I want to, hold on. I really hate that. Bye. Or I want to change the file path from my G drive. It really doesn't matter what you want to do there. You can put in anything you like as long as you know that the files that are in the process folder start with that particular thing. Right now I know that those files are starting with volumes tesp with this. And I want to change the prefix to this, to my new drive. So let's go over there. Why are you fighting me? That's weird. Like I said, this is a beta, so I think the reason why it is fighting me is because it is expecting volumes. Let's see if this is better. Yeah, then it takes it. No. There's a safeguard there. All right, I cannot demonstrate this because there's a bug if I want to do this from a regular drive. Let me double check if maybe we can do this from a Google Drive. So let's open this thing. Let's go here. And then let's see, there is Rekordbox. And there is what is updated a moment ago. Nothing is updated a moment ago. So no, those files are not on my... These are the ones. I think these are the ones. Let's see if the disturbed is inside that the Rekordbox playlist. I think that is fine. Okay, let's see what we have. Change the file path. Yeah. Is the disturb there? Yeah. So we can use that. So let's put those in it as well. So those are, as you can see, Dropbox files. Let me quit the Rekordbox here again. Go away. Okay, what I want to do is I want to change not sure why it's keep fighting me. Let's see if we can do this. So I want to have this Rekordbox folder on that drive. So I essentially make all my files from Dropbox. This is the Dropbox area to my local drive. And did it copy it? Yeah, it did copy it. And then I want to say, all right, everything that is in this file right there, I want to have right here. And it looks like it keeps fighting me, folks. So sorry, I cannot demonstrate it, but trust me, this works. I hope to show that then next week, or maybe make a tutorial about how this works. But what this does is it will take, or it will change the tracks within Rekordbox to tracks that you can actually use locally. So it will take away that Dropbox icon, it will take away the download icon, and you can use them straight away. But like I said, because the user interface is fighting me right now, I cannot demonstrate it. So that's something for a little bit later. Let's see, what do we have? 𝐀𝐬𝐬, hi all. I have a large collection in WAVs, and some people recommend converting to AFF in order to store metadata. There is a way to avoid that. Thank you in advance. No, Eric, that indeed is the smart thing to do. I must admit that, like many know, I am not per se a fan of lossless files for performance reasons. There is no audio system in the world where you can hear the difference between a lossless file and my high quality MP3s, and MP3s are much faster. But if you want to go lossless, AFF or FLAC are the preferred formats, simply because they have metadata information. But if you do that in, let's say, Rekordbox, you will of course lose all your cues and loops, unless you use something like the Rekordbox collection tool and merge everything back together again. So yes, you can do that. WAV is nothing that I would advise at all. AFF FLAC would be my second option, but I prefer high quality MP3 files just for the sake of being able to have metadata tags inside your audio files. Eddie Broom, my current Rekordbox music file path is very long. Can I use this to move my files to a new drive and shorten the file paths? Depends, Eddie. That entirely depends, because this relies on the storage structure in the source being the same as the storage structure on the new drive. So in general, no. What you can do if you want to shorten those file paths is just copy everything to an external drive, disconnect the drive that you have as a main drive, make sure that you have a backup of your Rekordbox collection, and then auto relocate. I think that is your best or your better option than doing it through this through this app. This app relies on the fact that the storage structure in the source is the same as the storage structure in the target. It only changes the prefix, so the start of the file path, and that's why you can, for instance, change semicolon to something else. Stein de Koster. I'm using Kit3 to deal with metadata of my AFF files on Mac. Is there an easier ID3 tag editor for Mac? Define easy, Stein. I like MP3 Tagger because that allows you to get information for the audio files from Discogs. That is commercial software. Kit3 of course is free, but if I really need to dive deep into the metadata of a track, for instance, I want to remove the Serato cues of an audio file, then I use Kit3. So it's kind of what you need it for. Let me give you a quick glimpse of MP3 tag. Let me switch this off, go away. And then let's take this one away and this one away, and this one was fighting us, so that can go away for sure. And then I lost my entire restream screen. It's one of those days. But we will manage, at least the Stream Deck seems to work with us a little bit more. So that's back, and then let's open the chat again so I can see what's happening there. And then where is my MP3 tag? There it is. Remind me later. This is MP3 tag, and that actually takes the info, or with that you can take the information from Discogs or whatever you like, and then make it a total complete tag if you want to. So you can see here you got everything that you have, and then you can look it up. I think here, look it up on Discogs. Search. And all that kind of stuff, and it can even do it automatically. I really recommend MP3 it's a nice user interface and a nice program. I think on Windows it's free. For macOS you need to buy it, but it's like $30 or something, and it's priced to own. It's not subscription software. Eric Sanchez, thanks. Any converter of preference? Yes, I use XLD, and XLD is freeware or donationware, and don't forget to donate the guy who wrote it. This is XLD. It doesn't have a user interface. It has a lot of preferences where you can say what the output format must be, how you want the bit rate, where you want the output directory to be. But let me quickly show you how it works. You just take a track and you drag it on after you have set, of course, the preferences. And then it creates the AFF file. As you see, it doesn't make any sense to go from an MP3 to an AFF, but just to show you how this works. If you want to know what my preferred MP3 settings are, let me go over that as well. Let me get XLD back. Like I said, it doesn't have a real user interface, so you need to know where you are at. And then you can set to lame MP3. And then you go to the options. Constant bitrate, high quality, stereo 44-100 kHz, and then 320 kbps. And these are my preferred settings to create an MP3 file, especially that CBR one can be a little bit of a difference. Let's see what other questions we got. Stijn de Costa, I actually just use the editor for name changes and to add a star rating. Keep in mind, Stijn, that yes, you can do star ratings in kits, but star ratings are not an official standardized tag. So that means that most DJ software will read those star ratings from kit 3, the so-called 𝗵𝗶𝗶𝗀 tags, but keep in mind that it may be a problem with other DJ software. I set mine in iTunes, now called Music, because you can do that by a script and that goes a lot quicker. But keep in mind, it is not standardized. So if you experience problems that certain apps don't see your star ratings, that's because it's not a standard. Can MP3 tag add a star rating that shows on Rekordbox? That is, while listening, you add 4 stars. Not, like I said, it is not standardized. I don't even know if MP3 tag has star ratings implemented. We can have a quick look. Why not? And then let's hope that it will switch, because I switched it like 10 seconds ago. And then it switches. So it's just slow. I don't know why it's slow, but it seems to be just slow. MP3 tag, I said. There we are. And then let's take one of the test tracks. I don't see a star rating there at all. Like I said, star ratings are not standardized tags, so I'm not surprised that it's not there. Let's see if it maybe is an option, but I don't think. Path here. No star ratings there, so you cannot do that. Like I said, I like to do that in iTunes, in Music app. The benefit that you have then is that all the apps can use those star ratings, regardless if they read the 𝗵𝗶𝗶𝗀 tag or not. So that was Stijn's question, and I switched back my cam, but we have to wait for it to switch. There it is. That also means, guys, that I am at the end of the live stream for this week. Unless you have a question for me, and if you got a question, then let me know in the chat that you have a question, so I can wait a little bit longer before I turn down the stream. Otherwise, I will be back next Tuesday, 7 o'clock p.m. Central European Time, with any and all questions. If you are watching this from a replay, from an archive, then remember that my replays are now only on YouTube. I take the Facebook video down after the stream. The Twitch will automatically go down. And if you like what I'm doing, don't forget to give the videos the thumbs up, like, share, subscribe and all that other good stuff. And most importantly, tell your DJ friends about the availability of this information totally for free each week. If you are watching this from an archive and you think, hey, I've got a question for 𝐀𝐬𝐤, put it in the comments and I talk about that next week. Stijn has another thing. Can MP3 tag add a star? Oh no, that's the same one. Okay, maybe I will use music as an MP3 editor then. I recommend that, Stijn, and if you do, then check out the iTunes collection tool. That is a tool that I created, not only for what it can do, but also because it comes with a ton of scripts, keyboard shortcuts that make your life as an iTunes user a whole lot simpler. If you want to see what kind of scripts, you have to look at my workflow video. I demonstrate how that works. 𝗵𝗵𝗃𝐻, it was a pleasure. Thanks for the help. You're more than welcome, Eric, and thank you for stopping by. Thank you all for stopping by. I hope to see you all next week. Same channel, same guy. Until then, 𝐀𝐬𝐤 signing off.